Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Why did it just say recording is started on my screen? I'm not recording anything.
I don't know why it says recording started on your screen. Why are you recording it? Hello, everybody.
I'm not. I'm going to log off and log back on just in case we got something bad going on.
No, you must have got the other end of mine. See, it must have logged you in as the host, and that's why it only logged me in as a guest.
I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, sure. I know you and Major trying to take over.
I don't need any more shows.
And there's no buttons or anything for me to push, so I'm a powerless host.
Then again, if Mage took over, the channel would probably finally get over 1,000 subscribers.
Hi, Unfinished. Hey, Unfinished, that's very nice of you to put that promo together every week.
Yes, it is. Thank you for that.
Yes, and always seems to manage to plug me on the on Blue Sky before I get to it.
Well, no, you guys didn't let me finish. So I like what you're doing, Unfinished. But listen, the $2,500 bill that you sent me is just a little bit much.
Half that, or double it.
Well, if you double it, you've got the 5,000, which is the bill that has Trump's picture on it.
There you go. That's what you always wanted. Anyway, we have Deep State Annex, Pragmatic Crystal, Greg Hartwick. What's this Jenni Morgan person?
A spy.
And Molly Hayford.
Yep.
Molly.
And we have Sammy Son and Ethan.
And Molly, thank you.
Is still asleep in the window.
And Molly, thank you to you for taking care of Purple.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes you a very lovely person.
Yes, I appreciate it because Purple will not. She is very terrible at taking care of herself.
And don't worry about me. I am all drugged up, so the bronchitis should not bother me right now.
What, I'm the only healthy one here?
Looks like it.
Okay.
Actually, Molly and her son have both been taking care of me.
Nope, and just got a captive desk here. Hello.
Yep.
My favorite gas station in town finally got a new coffee machine. Their coffee machine's been dead for 2 weeks.
Oh, how did you survive?
Well, I made my own instant at home, but their coffee is really nice and I like it, and get to go hang out and talk with people and stuff.
Do you have to talk about coffee? I can't have coffee right now.
Oh, the coffee was spectacular at the BP station. I just loved it. It was not too dense, not too weak.
Well, I know you used to talk about that a lot. That you had to walk down to the gas station to get your coffee all the time.
Well, it's only a mile away.
Yeah, you see.
It takes me about 2 hours on the cane, but I can get there eventually.
Yeah, the caffeine and the stuff I'm taking, it doesn't interact very well, so I can't have coffee right now.
Yeah, no, that would. You don't want any stimulants. You've got plenty.
Yep. May just started hormones, and now everybody on the show's on them.
2 different kinds. They have me on with the stuff.
Oh yeah, you think so? I think you'll be really cute.
No, I don't think it's that kind of hormones.
Uh-huh.
It's being used in a completely different way.
Well, if your waist starts getting narrow, you better stop them.
I wish my waist would have gotten narrow.
Your waist is already narrow.
No. I got the tummy bulge.
Actually, if I remember correctly, these particular hormones can actually cause weight gain.
Yes, that's true. Prednisone does that.
Yeah. Oh, I did get the doctor to up my prescription just so that maybe I can have some emotions back. It was kind of wild over the summer when it went to the extreme, but we're trying to find a more midpoint now.
Emotions. Why would you want those?
Well, because I never had them most of my life.
Because they feel great, and being able to cry is one of the most spectacular things a person can have.
Yeah. I went through most of my life completely flat, not reacting to much of anything until when a pet died.
And men are perfectly capable of crying as much as women. They've just been trained not to, and so they can't. If they practice, I'm sure it could come back though.
If you say so. Let's see. We have, what is it? Levi Strauss Day?
Yep.
Some,
Although, one thing I would just like to touch on for a moment before we get to the main topic is Star Wars collectors are insane.
Yeah.
which version? The old school or the new school?
I didn't know that there were different schools of them. I just thought they were all insane. But one of the Lego kits, one of the figures, I think it might have been Qui-Gon Jinn. I'm not sure. But one of the minifigs in one set went from being worth like $10 to being worth $300 in 1 week.
Why?
Because somebody noticed that the beard was printed in a color 2 shades lighter than the hairpiece.
Oh, God.
So apparently
okay.
just one batch of them, the print color was a little bit off, so they went up. Yeah. I mean, like, okay, unless you're shining a light directly on the face, you're not even going to be able to tell. If there's the slightest bit of shadow, no one will ever notice.
I personally love the fact that the Beanie Babies went in the trash. I thought that was just ridiculous that people would pay so much for a manufactured thing that they made millions of.
Yep.
People are
Okay, well,
dopes.
Beanie Babies did not go in the trash. Didn't you notice that when the Beanie Babies trend crashed, that Taco Bell was really pushing the burritos? They got recycled.
Okay. I when I babysat for this kid, he had just a huge Beanie Baby collection. And when I'd go over and babysit, I'd usually take 2 or 3 of them and feed them to the dog. He got really upset.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Kid.
Hello?
I remember when McDonald's was giving them away. It's like, okay, none of my girls were like, the insane collectors, but they each wanted a set of whatever the 10 different ones that McDonald's had.
I did collect all 4 of the Taco Bell dogs, the Yo Quiero dog, when they had those out, little bitty sized things that talked. They talked. They actually talked.
Jenny,
Yeah.
Taco Bell never distributed that. You've been kidnapping somebody else's pets.
Okay. Well, they taste good. And I collected all the raisin guys. I have all the raisin guys, and I keep
the California raisins. Yeah.
We're not,
and
not 50 minutes in yet.
I built a little stage for them, and that's how I keep them displayed. It's on a little stage.
Actually, that's some, I guess. It's dinged.
I remember when the California raisins had their own cartoon.
They did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little musical thing.
Yeah, they got that big that they got a Saturday morning cartoon for a year or so.
Interesting.
Me.
Onto the Levi thing, I guess.
Yes, Levi Strauss.
All right, let's see where we have the history.
Is he the guy that wrote those concerts and stuff?
He's the Levi jeans guy.
Yep.
Oh shit! I looked up the wrong stuff.
Levi Strauss was a German-American businessman born in Bavaria on February 26, 1829, who came to the U.S. with his family. He in the mid 1800s when he was 18 years old. Strauss began in as a dry goods wholesaler in San Francisco, California. Where he sold various items such as his clothing, bedding, bags, and handcrafted silk. Well, many of which he had arrived in California to take part in the gold rush. Needless to say, he is hard physical labor required the minutes of the day. Those builder new railroads made different for or difficult for them to find clothing that would last for more than a few months without falling apart at the seams. So thus he came up with the whole blue jeans thing.
There was a documentary about blue jeans on Wisconsin. I'm sorry, public television. It was interesting. I didn't watch it with intent to memorize any of it, so I can't tell you much about it. The one thing I learned about that I thought was very interesting is about the color, the blue. It's indigo. Indigo is not a color; it's a type of dye, and it has this incredibly complex process to make it and use it. And apparently Levi Strauss started using that, and that's what was one of the things that everybody else was envious of. And it's a big fancy schmancy deal. I don't know if they still use it today.
They probably do. But I usually prefer my jeans to be black.
I don't own a pair of jeans of any color.
I guess we can thank him from the bottom of our jeans.
Oh shit! I've been muted. Yeah, I've got jeans of several interesting colors, and I've got a couple pairs of white jeans that I'm going to be dyeing.
I had some
So
really glorious bells back in the day. They were like they weren't elephant bells, which are like 2 feet wide, but they were I'd say about 10 inches of a bell, and I really love those. I used to, when I worked at the crisis intervention hotline. You'd be in the middle of the night doing a 4 to 8 hour shift, and you'd get bored and stuff, even though there still are callers. So you just sit back and answer calls, and I started to embroider my pants while I was wearing them.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, we were in a Catholic hospital, gave us space. I didn't think it would be appropriate to strip down. So,
no, actually, I'm thinking the same thing. That I should, should start practicing embroidery so I can do some custom stuff on some of my jeans.
I love that trend. Well, it's a trend among embroiderers and young people, but not worldwide. They take a pair of jeans and like the rear pocket is sewn on. They will embroider a little garden sprouting out of the pocket, and it's just really pretty.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Well, looking it up, seems natural indigo is still used for blue jeans, though most of them uses synthetic indigo now.
I got a sweet old lady named Cool King Katie who embroiders on my jeans. Got my poor old gray-haired daddy driving my limousines.
Which was first developed in 1878. Oh, and got the guy who came up with it a Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1905.
Yep. Yeah,
For the indigo
these days
dye?
indigo is used.
Yeah, for the
as a
synthetic
color,
indigo.
but,
Oh, synthetic indigo.
Yeah.
Okay. Purple, just shut up. We're busy.
Okay, I'll mute myself again. Fine. If you people don't want to listen, I'll just talk to my kitties.
Well, I suppose I can do a little song here, seeing as we have also National Brotherhood Week now.
Oh, is it? I missed that one somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, hit your mute buttons.
Yep. Hit your mute buttons or get your earplugs. I may be a little bit out of tune since I've had bronchitis for the week or two, but
Okay, let me just do the. I assume you're doing the Tom Lear.
Yep.
Yep. So that let me just do the introduction that another popular song is the folk song of protest, which it takes a lot of courage to get up in a coffee house or an auditorium and come out in favor of the things everyone else in the audience is against, like peace and love and brotherhood and so forth. So with that, I have the song for National Brotherhood Week.
all right. Oh, the white folks hate the black folks hate the white folks, hate all but the white folks. It's an old established rule. But during National Brotherhood Week, Lena Horne and Sheriff Clark are dancing cheek to cheek. It's fun to eulogize the people you despise, as long as you don't let them in your school. Oh, the poor folks hate the rich folks, and the rich folks hate the poor folks. All my folks hate all your folks. It's American as apple pie. But during National Brotherhood Week, New Yorkers love the Puerto Ricans 'cause it's very chic. Stand up and shake the hand of someone you can't stand. You can tolerate him if you try. Oh, the Protestants hate the Catholics, and the Catholics hate the Protestants, and Hindus hate the Muslims, and everybody hates the Jews. But during National Brotherhood Week, it's National Everyone Smile at One Anotherhood Week. Be nice to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be grateful that it doesn't last all year.
I hope I never hear that song again.
Hmm.
Not your singing of it. That's not the objection. That's just the song's existence.
You would have issues with it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, well, isn't it sad that protest songs written in the 1960s are still topical?
Is that a 1960s song?
Yeah, Tom Lee wrote it sometime in the late 60s.
Well, do it again next year, so have that. Yeah. Hello, Randall.
Oh, Mage, I directed Art Against Ignorance and the Utopians to go and check out some of your media streams to hear you sing.
Oh, cool. Okay. Great. No pressure.
No, I just told them, that if they needed a strong male voice for a future project, I should probably tag you.
Oh, anyway,
You're going to go on tour?
I guess so.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad I'm getting good sound for this. This is my new headset, by the way.
The Utopians started out as a virtual rock band. So yes, they were on tour. Oh, hey, Randall. And Jester.
Oh, and for everybody who forgot to mute or bring your earplugs, I'm sure the bleeding will stop up shortly.
What? I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you.
No, Mage. You've got a good voice, and especially the stuff you do with the old time classics. Your voice is so appropriate for those.
Well, I figure it'd be the safest route to go, seeing as they're in public domain.
Have you ever considered trying to develop a soprano voice?
That doesn't work for me.
Oh, come on. Yipes.
Tiptoe through the tulips. No, see, it doesn't work.
Well, you got to practice. It just doesn't happen. Listen, with some of the voice training that I've heard trans women do, you should be able to develop a soprano. It's just amazing how people can change their voice radically.
Actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try and practice it, seeing as it might give me a better range. Because right now all I have really is bass.
Yeah, I've
Oh,
been.
well, that. Oh, I'm laughing at myself. I just did something really stupid.
It's true, mate. You are still bass.
And now we have Jenny peeing on stage.
I was pouring water into my coffee cup.
Sure you were.
I was. It was yellow, but
Uh,
other than that,
water. Yeah, I'm sure the clear liquid that you are drinking is water.
well, it's coffee. Is coffee clear? Would it be? No, that would be considered translucent, wouldn't it? Light can get through, but images can't.
Well, I was trying to get the AI to generate Alice in Wonderland and Alice, but they gave me seems to give me a trans Alice. So you got the pink and the white and blue.
No, that's Alice. That's her standard colors: light blue dress with a white top, and I don't remember
No,
about the hairband.
she usually has a blue hairband.
She's kind of cute.
Yeah, well, kind of anime style.
I have results from a scientific test I've been doing. Anybody interested?
Sure. What was the test on?
Well, for budgetary reasons, I needed to know how much coffee I would consume, and so I usually buy this Folgers instant coffee because I just don't drink enough to have a whole pot and thing system going. And I have now found that over the past year, I have consumed about 1 jar of this Folgers Classic Roast. Let's see, an 8-ounce jar. Takes about 3 days over 2 months when you average it all out.
Fill some holes in the bottom, and you got a nice planter.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And that comes out when my schedule of drinking it comes out to about only 15 cents a cup. And I stopped putting eggs in it because I just couldn't afford that anymore. Okay, that was interesting. So, what was the big deal about Levi Strauss that he did that other companies didn't do? What was his secret?
He made durable little pants for people, for workers.
Yeah, what was the big patented? You can't do that thing. The rivets. The rivets.
Yeah, the rivets were one of the big deals that.
Yep.
Yep. It reinforced the weak points in the seams.
He went through like 5 dozen frogs developing it.
Yep. Although the rivets went out of fashion in the late 1950s because people were blaming their girlfriends for scratching the paint job on their cars with them. That's not a joke.
Girls were not allowed to wear jeans in the 50s. They could wear capri pants if they're at the beach, but no jeans. That's against the law. Jeans turned around in our culture, at least in terms of high schools. When I was in high school, and I like about 71, I think it made the big change. Maybe 70. It's fuzzy, but there was a period when the school finally changed its policy, and one day all the girls were wearing skirts, and the next day all the girls were wearing pants. It was pretty weird.
Yeah, jeans really were a cultural revolution. That it made it okay for women to wear pants.
I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond the feminism that demands that as a standard feature.
Well, and that was part of the whole, hippie culture of the 60s and 70s.
Excuse me. Yeah, that was fun. The other thing that happened when I was in high school as an overnight thing was alcohol. There was finally one day in the spring in Wisconsin where the age for alcohol changed from 21 to 18. And overnight, we had alcohol in the school, people getting drunk in class and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, on day one, you saw, oh, this is not a good idea. I'm glad they finally changed it back to 21. I hated going to bars in those days and having a bunch of drunken babies around you.
Well, nowadays, even at 21, would they still be babies to you?
Well, to me, yeah.
Yeah,
to me, everybody except Purple is a baby. Purple's really old. Don't tell anybody you know that.
I have to say that I do experience a level of annoyance about, all these pretty trans girls in their 20s, complaining about, how rough it has been for them that they could only start transitioning now. And especially around Valentine's Day, these pretty girls saying that they couldn't get a date. Like, please, yeah, please, child, just go out and be yourself, and I'm sure you will have people hitting on you.
Well, D-State, I'm glad you got a job. Good for you. Be sure to send that $500 you owe me.
Job that
All right,
also,
you can wait a couple of weeks. It's okay.
a job that also pays money. Imagine that.
I haven't heard of one of those in decades.
Mm.
Um,
Leave us your PayPal or whatever
yeah,
system you're
Commander,
using.
you've got a wrench. You can drop a link in the side chat if you've got PayPal or something. Also, let me chat with you privately later, and I might be able to arrange some help for you.
Mm.
Same with me. Although not as much as Purple, because Purple is a millionaire. I don't know if any of you guys knew that.
Well, I didn't know that.
Well, that's because you don't do your own books.
I'm doing my own book. I've been writing the same novel for over 10 years now.
And there still aren't enough words. I got to get more words in this thing.
There are plenty of words in my novel. Unfortunately, they're still all in my head. And, I don't get around to typing them out in some form that other people can see them.
Deep State, since you got a job coming up, and I'm going to furnish you some money as soon as I can for some food and all that kind of stuff. Since you're going to be making money, could you give me $3,000? I found this car I want to buy. It's a Subaru, so it's a sensible car.
I saw that.
And it's only got 300,000 miles on it.
I saw that, and I can't believe that it's only 3,000. That just makes me suspicious that with the used car prices these days, that seems really cheap.
Actually, in that age, I mean, let's keep in mind that it's a 2011. That's an old car. That's 12 years old. 13.
Yeah,
13.
The van I'm driving is a 2008. But
Spooky,
yeah,
Spooky will tell you later.
I had a Subaru Legacy before, and yeah, that damn thing just, even with neglecting the maintenance, it just kept going. You were supposed to replace the timing belt.
Yep.
At 100,000 miles.
Yep.
Mine, the timing belt broke at 260,000, and the mechanic said that had been the original belt.
Timing belts very frequently will last longer than their specified interval. The interval is determined mostly because by the damage that can be caused with the timing belt. On the
Yeah.
Subaru, they're not a interference type motor, and so when they stop, the pistons just stop moving, or I should say the head stops moving, and valves can be out or in. Doesn't matter. The pistons aren't going to touch them. But in like a BMW M20 engine that uses a belt, that belt is
Hey,
rated
Stuffy
at
girl, what's the
60,000.
problem?
Is rated at 60,000, and we've seen them break at 40. And so we always told customers, get it changed around 40,000, 50,000 tops.
Yeah.
Because that is an interference engine, and if your belt breaks, you have now bent 12 valves. Well, not all 12, but you will definitely bend about 6 of them.
Apparently, on the Subarus, it mattered. If it was the single overhead, it could do real damage when the belt broke. Mine had the dual overhead, so it didn't damage anything else. And I just got the timing belt replaced, and the car ran for another 10 years. There's my fluffer girl. My third kitty's here. Petunia. Hi. Yes, yes, yes. I know the routine. I pet her and she goes lick, 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 chomp, lick, 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 chomp. Oh, Petunia must have been an extremely abused kitty in her first home. But I understand her. But that's also why I know that I could never have rehomed her. No one else would have put up with her long enough to get to understand her.
I could probably have handled it.
Yeah. Well, Petunia was Slothgirl's kitty. And
I don't want another cat.
yeah, well, it took almost 4 years for her to get used to the idea that somebody reaching for her could be nice and she wasn't going to instantly get slapped. So it took about 4 years before she was okay with people petting her without instantly trying to bite them. So all of my kitties are shelter rescues. And yeah, for Sammy's son and Ethan, I went into the shelter and I asked them who had been stuck there the longest. That was a big part of my criteria for which one to take home is, if there had been one that had been stuck there for a long time that nobody seemed to want. So, yeah, I have spent decades fixing broken kitties. Oh, yeah, Commander, I know how that can go, that if your income just gets interrupted for a little while, you can go down the tubes real quick.
Commander, just so you know, I am Rank Amateur Studios. It used to be the name of my business when I had it going.
I have been wondering on PayPal, how is it that some people can get it to just display their screen name instead of displaying their legal name?
I think it's business. I have a business account with PayPal.
Possibly.
Ah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and I like keep hanging on to it. I still operate the business in very, very light, but I still do. I sell my car manuals that I wrote and stuff that way. Any kind of artwork I do for somebody.
These are pretty good artworks found on Blue Sky. Humans are cruel and sincere creatures. That's why I love cats. They're loyal and lovable. Oh, I love you too, girl. Perish, 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 perish.
Yeah, that's about it. All right. Well, then, if we're gonna play show the pretty pictures time,
sure.
You guys can see my new avatar. She's from my coloring book, and I colored that. I stayed in the lines and everything, and I think she's the goddess of spring, maybe.
Yep.
Or something, but so it's around here. It's spring. It's been 50 degrees for the last 5 days. It's amazing.
That was
So
my first impression, is that it's kind of an image of the May Queen.
Can you color out of the lines with that thing?
who? What?
Can you color out of the lines with that
No,
little app?
no, you can't. No, you can't. You can't even change colors. I wish you could. Like number 4 is blue. I wish you could make number 4 green. Or whatever you want that way.
Mhm.
But it's fixed. And it's a really I enjoy the program. It's a great time killer, and you relax when you're doing it and stuff. But the commercials that they have on it, fucking it's the same commercials over and over and over again, and they're all some of them are brief. Some are 20-30 seconds. Others are 2.5 3 minutes, and you can't cancel them out and move past. It's very hateful.
Well, Callissia, I appreciate that. Currently my situation is fairly stable, although I still owe my brother a bunch of money for the repairs on the van. So yeah, I get by okay month to month, but I still have some back debt that I haven't been able to catch up on.
Deep State, I'll do that again if I get a retirement check from Social Security this month. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be discontinued. And those of us who are on Social Security as seniors are genuinely frightened of what's going to happen to our income.
Yeah.
That we worked 55 years to accumulate. Looks like they're going to try and take it and give it to Elon.
Well, me doing the convention a couple of weeks ago and sleeping in the van, yeah, part of that was preparing for the idea that if anything happens to Social Security, I'm going to be living in the van. So part of that was an experience to see if I could stay alive in there when it was sub-zero temperatures.
It's pretty fucking scary right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For those of you who are maybe on the edge of awareness about this stuff, the Congress, the House has passed a budget, and it has a $880 billion cut in Medicaid. And they said, "Oh, we're gonna cut out these extra dollars. We're gonna go after that waste." To them, waste means any program that helps people is a waste.
Yeah.
And so 880 billion that they're cutting, that's Medicare's entire budget. They're just playing word games so people don't pay attention to what's going on.
Something else to keep in mind with the crap they're pulling here.
The Republicans just pulled a really clever trick into cutting Americans' health care without anybody knowing. Here's what they did. The Republicans just advanced their budget blueprint by a vote of 217 to 215, with every single Democrat voting no. That would allow them to make deep cuts to certain committees. Now, it's true that the Republican budget doesn't expressly make cuts to Medicaid and food stamps, but what it does do is mandate cuts to certain committees. So, for example, the Energy and Commerce Committee is forced to cut $880 billion from its budget. That is the committee that oversees Medicaid. You cannot cut $880 billion without cutting Medicaid. The Agriculture Committee is being forced to cut $230 billion. That is the committee that oversees food stamps. You cannot cut $230 billion without cutting food stamps. And so do you see the trick that they're pulling? None of them actually expressly voted for a cut to Medicaid. None of them expressly voted for a cut to food stamps, but they did force cuts to the committees that will then have to cut those exact programs. So they gave themselves one layer of protection to be able to maintain some plausible deniability so that when they go back to their districts, they don't have to say, oh, well, I voted for a budget that cuts Medicaid and food stamps. knowing full well that they did vote for a budget that forced the committees to then cut those programs. Again, a clever little trick to prevent them from having to take accountability for their own actions. They think we're stupid. We know better.
Folks, pay real close attention to that, memorize it, and get in discussions with people about this.
Yeah,
We got congressional seats coming up in 2 years, and it would be entirely possible for Democrats to take control and put a stop to all this bullshit. But
Not
not if
just
you
in
don't
2
help.
years. Everybody check your local elections now. Several states have elections coming up in the next couple of months that have the potential for flipping seats in the House of Representatives.
yeah, there are some in Florida going on.
Yeah.
They're not my. It's not in my district, unfortunately. But
Yeah, so everybody check if your district has an election coming up, because if the Democrats can flip just 2 seats, the Republicans lose their majority in the House, and this kind of shit won't get passed.
yeah, and then they have to pay off the Democrats to do it.
Democrats are not going to support a fascist nation.
Well,
Period.
as that last clip said, that every single Democrat had voted against that bill. It was just the fact that the Republicans had a 2-seat majority.
Yeah, only one Republican didn't voted against it because he wanted something even worse.
Well, they had tried to pass something much worse a couple of weeks ago, and even a couple of the Republicans balked at it, and like 3 or 4 Republicans voted against it and voted with the Democrats.
So I know we just got over the election and stuff, and elections suck, and we're all sick of it. But this is our last hope, is to take the majority back in 2 years, or it's completely out of our hands forever.
Yeah. Well, and I know people don't like it, but yeah, we've got to start paying more attention to the local elections, the off-cycle elections, and damn it, lose my words mid-sentence.
Every
It'll
vote
come back to
matters
me,
right
just go
now.
on.
There were about 70 million people who did not vote in the last election. That would have easily turned it over to Kamala if they had. But my vote doesn't mean anything. Look around you.
Start
It certainly
attacking the voters.
freaking does.
Don't
Yeah.
start attacking the voters. That's going to drive more people away.
I'm not attacking anybody.
Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, a lot of it did come down to the people who just didn't go out and vote because they didn't like either party.
And remember, if you're not the one who memorizes all this stuff, a lot of people don't, and that's fine. Every 2 years, every seat in Congress is in the House. I'm sorry, is up for re-election. Of course, every 6 in the Senate, but it's divided by 1/3 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is critically important. It's not that far away. And Purple's right. There are some elections that are happening in April that we can flip it now. There's like three or four people who are running for Congress this next April, and if they win, the problem's not over, but it's certainly a lot safer for us.
Well, it would give the Democrats the ability to block the worst of the bullshit. So basically, it would prevent things from happening until the midterm election.
And remember, our Speaker of the House is a religious dominionist and Christian nationalist, and he's all for ending a lot of stuff. Did you know that? Oh fuck! Is it Louisiana? Damn it! Oh no! Michigan. Michigan, which is mostly a blue state, although it tends purple once in a while. The Republicans in their state House has introduced a bill to end marriage equality. And the party is standing back watching that, and they gauge response to it. They gauge tactics to fight it, and they build all that into their attack on the national level. Yeah. So if you happen to be in Michigan out there, folks, this is really, really a critical election if you got anybody up for office.
Yeah, and I have been a Democrat all my life. I'm not necessarily saying that I like the current Democratic Party. They suck. They should be trying to do more to push back against things. I don't know why we're seeing them do so little, and it pisses me off.
I can tell you why.
Well, yeah, largely they're more concerned with preserving the status quo than they are with actually getting anything accomplished. But
well, the status quo, as much as we hate it, is one hell of a lot better than what Trump's bringing.
Yeah, but by their being so concerned with not shaking up the status quo, they're allowing Trump to do this. May, you had something to inject there?
They're bought and sold just like the Republicans.
No, they're not, but you can continue on in that delusion if you want.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
I have worked in politicians' offices. I've worked in senators' offices. I've worked in House members' offices. I see what goes on day to day. Okay? That's just not true. What happens is that you get a guy like that, like I'm thinking in particular Russ Feingold, who is so good and so fucking honest that he got voted out because the Republicans conned the people into telling how un-American he was because he was the only senator in the country, the only politician in the country who voted against the Patriot Act because he took the time to read it and said, "No, this is horrible." And everybody said, "Well, fuck you, that 9/11, 9/11, 9/11." And then he lost his seat because he was un-American.
Actually, Paul Wellstone also voted against the Patriot Act.
Did he?
Yep. And he was basically a shoo-in to get reelected, except that then he died in a plane crash.
Yeah, and there are people who are suspicious of that plane crash.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but yeah, Paul Wellstone definitely had made some powerful enemies. We almost got a universal health plan by the Republicans, except that in the last hour, Paul Wellstone tacked a rider onto the bill saying that all members of Congress would be covered under the same plan. And the Republican plan literally vanished overnight, never to be heard from again.
Let's see here. 2,800 needed to Jack Reed, Democrat by Elon Musk through. That's directly from Elon Musk. Let's see here. Gene Shaheen gun in 2,800 by Elon Musk through SpaceX. Gary E. Peters through SpaceX from Elon Musk. Chris Coons from Elon Musk. These are Democrats.
Yes, and now explain to me precisely what they did as the trade-off for that money, the tit for tat.
You also have to look at other things that they're getting paid through all these PACs and shit too.
Yeah, well, but the problem is too much money in politics because, yes, unfortunately, even the Democrats, have taken, millions and hundreds of millions from various corporations.
You think we'd be having the whole Israel thing with the Democrat as if it wasn't in for them and being bought and sold with that?
CPAC has nothing to do with Democrats. CPAC is conservatives only.
Yeah.
They block people at the door that they think are not true believers. Okay, they physically block people. They've taken people out of their audience and thrown them out on the street, literally.
Yeah. But a lot of the problems with our positions on anything in the Middle East do have to do with lobbying from the weapons manufacturers.
I'll be right back.
Let's see here.
Robert, I would correct you on that. Well, I don't know. See, only about a third of the country actually voted for Trump. So I was going to say that only a third of them deserve it, but yeah, you're probably right about half, because a lot of the people who just didn't bother to show up to vote, yeah, some of it falls on them.
Where did this go?
Yep. And Trump is not only un-American, Trump is completely un-Christian. But the churches told their people to vote for him. And I would have thought that when they rolled out a literal golden idol of Trump, why did this not get all the Christians to say, what the fuck? But no, they just let it go right by. They found some rationalization that, no, he hasn't broken at least 9 of the 10 commandments. Oh, okay, well, back to blue jeans while we're waiting. For over 40 years, my entire wardrobe consisted of 3 pair of jeans, 2 carpenter's pants, and 1 nice pair of jeans I wore for formal occasions, and assorted color t-shirts.
Okay, I found the one I wanted. Now I got to get them all together for you guys. Let's see. We'll do that one, and we'll do.
Okay. Mage, if Jenny is sending these to Twitter, can you grab them? Because I'm looking for something else here.
And this one. Okay. Show them in order.
Let's see here. Shut up.
What's that?
What we're going to show you folks is how CPAC is absolutely part of only the Republicans, and in this particular time, part of the Nazi Party. Here we have on our little screen the collar ID marks that the German soldiers in World War II would wear, depending on what their job was, what division they're in. Notice the one. Let's see here. Did that go? Oh yes, down in the lower left-hand corner, second from the bottom, see, with a little diamond and a little arm sticking out. Let's get a better look at that. Go to the next one. That's the badge. Yes, there we are. See, isn't that lovely? Okay, let's go to the third one and take a look at CPAC's stage. Zoom in if you can, folks. Gee, have you ever seen that shape before? That's not a mistake. That's not a coincidence. This is totally intentional. This is called a dog whistle to the audience. Subconsciously, it sticks in their head And symbology is very, very important to the Nazi Party of America at this time. And it was in Germany too. Everybody likes to poo-poo these things. Oh no, they're just showing the okay sign. No, they're not. No, they're not. There are thousands of photographs showing them using it as a hate symbol. Okay, it's all over the place, and a whole bunch of other symbology they use, but people don't know what it is. They don't know the dog whistles. Only the people that sending out the dog whistles know it, like the number 88.
Wait, you actually bought into the whole okay thing with the hand and being a Nazi thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Well,
gee.
white supremacist in America.
That was a joke on 4chan.
No,
Yes, it was.
Now hush up. It came to be adopted by them and is
Yeah.
used all the time. You can see it in the 9/11 shots. You can see it in any kind of get together that they are. They all take their picture and they have their little zero with 3 fingers. No, whoever it started it, I don't care. It is
Yeah.
used by them
No,
constantly.
Jenny is right. It started out as a joke, but the MAGAs were using it after that.
Yeah, the egg on. It was just the egg on, and
No.
you
It is Nazi symbology. They send
No, it
out
is not
dog
Nazi.
whistles.
No,
That's how this works.
That was not Nazi symbology. That started as a fucking joke on 4chan.
Okay.
And if they adopted it later, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. I'm not saying
Again,
it necessarily started with the Nazis, but that's what the white supremacists are using it for now.
I do not care who invented it. It is used constantly and has been for over 20 years.
No, it hasn't been in 20 years.
Okay.
It's only been a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
I was following this in the 2000s, in the 1990s. Okay, they were using it then.
Yeah, right.
Okay, fine. Now, you can defend your Nazis all you want, but they are doing that, and their symbology is how they attract other people in.
Defend my Nazis all I want? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, Mage is definitely not defending the Nazis. It's just a question of how long they've been using the symbol. That's all.
Tubian, you're correct with the Pepe the Frog. The author of the creator of Pepe the Frog is a left winger, and he tried for years to get them to stop using it, trying to sue people and all sorts of things, and he wasn't able to stop them.
Okay, I was not aware where the Pepe the Frog thing had started from.
It was a character for a kid's book.
Oh, shit, that makes it worse.
The number 88, HH as in Heil, somebody else. Let's see. The number 33 is something too, and I can't remember. Sorry, but there are other graphic symbols like we showed you, and as well. There are people who are start translating the colors of the triangles in the concentration camps to modern day language and names, so they can all understand who's who and what's what. This is just much farther along than the general public realizes.
In 2017, the okay hand gesture acquired a new and different insignificance thanks to a hoax by members of the website 4chan and false promote that the gesture is a hate symbol. So it goes back 20 years. Yeah, bullshit.
Okay, I never saw it. I guess I was blind, just hallucinating it.
Yep, I guess you were. Okay. That bullshit's over.
Shoot. Yeah, I
How
was
about
trying to find something lighter, but it's taking me too long to.
how about
find
some
it.
sad news?
Oh, what?
I have Michelle Trenchenberg died today at 39 years old. The she was one of the main actors in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who played Dawn, Buffy's younger sister, and she was in
Oh,
what was the other thing that she was in that she was major in? Let's see here.
Well, that's sad. Why did she die?
It's not. They haven't done the. She was also in Gossip Girl. Uh, it's not exactly clear. She apparently had some liver transplant, and there might have been complications from that. They're thinking it's probably natural causes. They haven't done the autopsy yet, though.
She can't be that old. Under
No,
40?
she's 39.
Well, that's sad. I like that show.
yeah. I had never watched it except that my oldest daughter really got into it, so then I wound up watching it with her.
Did any of you ever catch the musical version of one episode?
Yes. Well, that is probably the best remembered one.
Yeah, I think was a brilliant idea.
Well, and for that show, it worked because they had a way to incorporate it into the lore of why this was happening.
Also, Roberto, I think his last name is pronounced Orsi. He passed away yesterday as well.
And who was he?
He was the executive producer, he did co-executive producer for Hercules: The Legendary Journey with Kevin Sorbo. He also did Xena, Warrior Princess, Jack of All Trades. He did the Star Trek movies, the newer ones from like 2009 something. Transformers Prime. He was the executive producer for that.
Well, maybe with any luck, it's Kevin Sorbo's turn next. God, people really attack him when he's saying stupid things. He's an arch conservative, and
but he was only 51 when he passed, so it's still pretty young.
yeah, it sure is.
I've been trying to get a picture off my phone, but it's not cooperating. So I will have to do it. And bring it up next week. Sorry, folks. I grew up before these computers were a thing, so I still don't understand how to do a lot of this stuff.
Oh, excuse me, it was APAC that I was thinking of, not CPAC.
Oh, okay. Now, see, that makes a huge difference.
I'm sorry about that. But still.
Yeah, damn it. My brain is just dropping the language today. I'm getting these ideas and somehow I'm not getting them into words.
What's a ZX81? Is that a Chevy, like a Camaro or something?
No, that was the Sinclair computer.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was around the same time as the Commodore 64.
Oh, okay.
Geez,
Robert, you're really old.
Yep.
Nothing.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
For their time, they were really powerful machines.
Was that a monitor on there or just flat?
No, that's just flat. You had to plug it into a monitor.
Oh, yeah, this was pre-flat screen.
Yeah, this was in the early 80s.
Probably had to plug it into a TV.
Yes.
but I'm watching my stories. No.
Yeah, like I say, it was basically a British company that was producing these in competition for the Commodore 64s. So they did not sell well in the US just because, the Commodore 64, you had a standard keyboard. The ZX81, you had like a half-size keyboard.
Randall, that's awful. Did you have to witness this?
Oh,
Yikes.
Randall, I know just what you mean because Guapo, one of the cats that accompanied me on my trip from New York, got eaten by a pack of raccoons. And I heard the noise, but by the time I got there, it was too late. But yes, this unfortunately is a problem that people aren't aware of, that hawks and owls will attack cats and small dogs.
That happens a lot out here. We have almost every raptor you can think of living here.
Yeah. Well, the eagles could probably pick up a cat and fly away with it.
You can pick up a small child.
So,
I'll never forget that video that somebody made. It was CGI, of course, of an eagle grabbing an infant and taking it away. Jeez.
well, Molly got some very good news on Tuesday. One of their cats has cancer, and they thought they were going to have to put them down. But they took them to the vet, and the vet said that this is something that is treatable. So, the cat is on a prescription now that should, they can't reverse the cancer, but it should at least slow him down to give him a lot more time. So, one of their kitties is still around when they thought they might have to put him down this week. And with the prescription, he is still managing to run and climb, so still having a good life.
I think that's incredibly cruel that pets get cancer.
Yeah. Well, it's not too nice when people get it either, but
Oh no, I know, but the animal doesn't know what's fucking going on, and it's more cruel.
Well, apparently the only animal that they don't think can get cancer are whales.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Isn't that weird? Why?
Every animal can get cancer.
Yeah, well, I didn't know why whales were excluded.
They're just less likely.
Yeah, they have found some dinosaur fossils that showed evidence that the animals had cancer as well. So this has been around for 100 million years at least. Yeah, there was one sauropod that they discovered. I forget the details on it, but based on some deterioration in the vertebrae, it shows that it had a cancerous tumor in its neck. And that's what, when your neck is 14 feet long, a sore throat would be pretty miserable, let alone a tumor in there.
I had a friend that died from throat cancer and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what I just lost Sloth Girl to. Was that it had started out in her uterus, and they did surgery to try and remove all that. But because of the beautiful American medical system, it took them so long to get around to doing surgery that by that time it had spread to her lungs. Whereas if the doctors had paid attention to things more, this might have been detected like a year earlier. Because she was complaining about symptoms that they never really looked into.
Here's something that you could look up. I have heard rumor. I have not seen it myself, but I've heard a couple trans folks mention it, that a new piece of propaganda or a new method of propaganda is being employed. The bad guys are trying to convince the public that the federal government is paying for people to do sex changes on animals, on our pets, dogs and cats.
What?
Yeah. It certainly sounds outrageous, but you never know what they're doing.
Yeah, while I was in the waiting room waiting to be picked up from the hospital, well, they had Fox News on, and I had to listen to Trump talking about how it'd be a rich country in that being in debt if it wasn't for all these trans surgeries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit.
Somebody had the numbers for the whole trans in the military thing.
I did.
Okay.
The military spends roughly $11 million a year on all healthcare for a trans person, like a cold, a flu, including HRT and things.
I think you mean 11,000.
No, I mean 11 million.
Okay.
Okay. But the military also spends $85 million a year on Viagra.
Yep.
No, in fact, that number was of trans care and stuff was, they discussed that they estimate, we don't have numbers on everything. They estimate that there's probably around 3,000 or so trans people who are not getting any kind of trans-oriented care whatsoever.
Well, and the other practical matter that we're not thinking of is if you kick all the trans people out of the military, how much money has the military already invested in training these people?
Mm-hmm.
So basically you're cutting off valuable assets and losing some important specialists that it's going to cost you more to train someone else to do their job than it was costing you in the medical care.
The other thing that they're doing to just confuse the public is they're giving the public the concept that the government is paying for every transgender person's everything, and that's just absolutely so false. The government, the only money that's out there from the government for trans service is out of Medicare and Medicaid, and they don't cover everything. Most trans people are financing it themselves, every penny, or they have an insurance company that is willing to make certain expenses, but the government has nothing to do with it.
Oh, speaking about on that particular subject, then I'll be transition back over to this thing I was just going to talk about. Forrest Valkai just a really good video. It's almost 2 hours long on all sex and all that, and gender and all that.
Oh, he's got a recent one out on that.
I put it in the DM group, so you can check that out.
Okay.
I was just looking at this thing on whales and why they don't get the cancer as frequently. Apparently, it has to do with their genomic loci. Basically, it's a regulatory system that prevents cancer. It had to keep up with their growth, their large growth, so it ends up kind of overcompensating. That's the reason why they don't get cancer as much. So this this regulatory system that prevents cancer in their bodies is actually overcharged, basically.
Yeah, I thought it had something to do with their growth rate, but I didn't quite remember how it all.
Yeah, it had to do with how they developed such a gigantic size. That system had to keep up with that, and as a consequence, it pretty much prevents cancer in most cases.
Horseshoe crabs are used for something unique because their blood is blue.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. I keep thinking hemophiliacs, but I don't know. That's just what rattles in my brain.
It is something like that. I remember hearing it.
Copper-based blood.
Horseshoe crab blood is used to test medical devices and drugs for bacterial contamination. This process helps keep patients safe from fatal infections.
That's interesting.
I can see why.
A protein in the horseshoe crab blood, limus amibetryl, I shouldn't even bother, LAL, is used to test for entoxins.
Aren't horseshoe crabs, don't they have like fossils of them, and that they have not changed one bit from a billion years ago?
Not exactly.
Yeah, very little, but yeah.
Very little.
They were around before the dinosaurs.
I think they're a gorgeous creature. I would love to have some in an aquarium.
And one of the things that I bring up when theists are arguing about morality is even horseshoe crabs have been shown to have empathy for their own kind. That if one of them gets flipped over in the surf, other ones have been shown to even work together as a team to try and flip them upright again so they can crawl back into the water.
There's a bunch of animals that seem to understand the concept of altruism.
Yeah.
Turtles will tip each other back on their feet, and other things. They've shown or demonstrated in rats and I think even mice, certain amounts of that, of caring for each other.
Yeah.
And a bunch of much larger animals do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, but just this whole bullshit that morality is something unique to humans, and it's like, no, these animals that are like hundreds of millions of years old understand the concept.
Fossils of horseshoe crabs have been dated to 445 million years old.
Yep. And the oldest ancestor they can track to the dinosaurs is only 320 million years old. So the horseshoe crabs were here for 100 million years before the first dinosaur.
I wonder. Wouldn't that put it in the like trilobite age too?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the trilobites were around when the horseshoe crabs showed up.
Cool. The other cool ocean bug. I wish we had trilobites still today. They're so cool.
It's a shame that the trilobites disappeared. And people think of trilobites again. People kind of lump things together, and they kind of think of them as being a species, but they were a huge family of like 150 different species. Yeah, I think the other thing, the article I found just said that the horseshoe crab blood was used for testing medical equipment, but I think they have also, used it to test blood plasma for contamination.
See, currently, there are 4 species of horseshoe crabs still around.
Okay.
Does it say anything about what they're used for?
I think you're asking Purple? Because I was just looking at
I'm asking anybody.
I was just looking at the species thing. I wasn't really looking at what they're used for.
Yeah. Well, That's all I had. Yes, yes, Tubian.
There's
Horseshoe crabs are actually from Vulcan.
there's a advertising for the Carbone Cancer Center at UW Madison, University of Wisconsin Madison, that they use something from sharks in cancer treatment. They don't specify that. It wasn't that kind of commercial, but it's just a mention in the commercial.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Michigan, a news item that had come up. Um, Again, I forgot the name of the company because I suck at names. But the largest healthcare provider in Michigan, based on Trump's executive order, had stopped issuing transgender healthcare. And due to overwhelming protests, a week later reversed their decision.
Now, where was this?
In Michigan, the largest health provider in Michigan.
Oh, okay. You
know,
well, I
so
completely
it's
missed
like,
that.
yeah, they gave this BS press release that, well, it was only meant to be temporary while they evaluated the situation, and it's like, no, bullshit. You had so many people in public outcry against it.
And I bet you most of those were cisgender people.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is I believe that company handles a lot of the Medicaid for Michigan. Something I'm wondering about, the Health Partners, the company that had been handling my Medicaid, has now cut all ties with the Medicaid system in Minnesota. And I haven't been able to find anything about it or anything that says why, but the timing is suspicious that it also had something to do with them deciding perhaps to not pay for transgender care, while Minnesota has a state law that says any Medicare provider must provide gender-affirming care where appropriate. So if the company decided to stop providing hormones for people transitioning, then the state would have cut them off from the program. And again, people, this is why I encourage people to move to Minnesota. The winters are harsh, but the state government here will do everything they can to keep things going as long as they can, regardless of anything Trump does. The doctor I consulted with at the university hospital about a month ago said that as far as their projections go, they can continue covering all this stuff for at least 2 years to carry them past the midterm election. So, that's the university hospital is committed to this regardless of what Trump tries to do.
I haven't seen any clips that prove it, but I heard somebody say that Trump is still using that. They take kids to school and 2 days later they come back with the sex change. Has anybody heard any quotes from him lately of doing that?
Not lately, but that was such bullshit.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And so many people suck it in and actually believe it.
Yeah, I have not known anyone who even managed to get a prescription for any gender affirming thing without being in therapy for at least a year first.
My progesterone just went up by 10x. And they wanted me to pay what was it, $180 or something for
your insurance stopped covering it, or?
I'm on Medicare.
Yeah. You should check in to if you can change your Medicare plan if there's any other ones available to you, because that sounds like that they decided to, take that prescription off of their formulary, or talk to your doctor about if they can get some pre-approval for it. Those are two possible routes of, maybe getting the Medicare to do something with it.
Well, my negativity about the whole thing would tell me that they're not going to, because it has to do with trans and no.
Yeah, but for Medicare, prescriptions are covered under your Part D plan. And I know this because I studied this a lot for my late fiance, that I had to spend quite a long time going through all the different companies, all the different
Found yourself
providers
again.
for it, to find one that would cover most of her medications, to find out which one was going to be the least out-of-pocket expense to get her all of her prescriptions covered. Okay, now we got a pretty Jenny and we've got a cute Jenny. Which one do we keep?
That one.
Okay.
Next up is Miku.
So you last night I was watching just kind of a silly stream by a transgender, about like every trans girl now wants to be Miku.
Oh yeah,
And,
all trans girls want to be grow up to be a pretty anime girl.
yeah,
I'll have to
well,
add.
promoting the idea for a protest that could we get 1,000 trans girls to show up all cosplaying as Miku.
But that'd be a big amount of money for all those wigs.
Yeah.
Because they got to be 4 to 8 feet long.
Well, let's see, what does a Miku wig cost on Amazon anyway?
Yeah, that's I've had a great concept for a costume to cosplay, but yeah, unfortunately, it costs money just for the stuff to build it.
Yeah, they're only $20.
But my favorite Transformer, of course, is Slag. Was the G1 Dinobots Triceratops,
Hmm.
and I have actually figured out the mechanisms for how I could build this costume to the point that I could actually transform wearing it. I just don't have the money to build it.
What kind of
I
costume?
can't afford to spend that kind of money on something like that.
What kind of costume?
A Dinobot Transformer.
Oh, okay.
But I would actually be able to transform between the robot mode and the dinosaur mode.
I've seen a couple guys who've done a car transformer. They get down on their hands and knees and they look like this little car, like a kiddie car.
I've seen a couple of those, and the thing with doing Slag is that the way his legs move when he stands up is something I don't think most people can do, but is something that I know I can do. And I have demonstrated this years ago to people in my Transformers collectors group, and they're like, yeah, if you can really do that without breaking your ankles.
Randall, what did they charge you with if they took you to jail for yelling? Disorderly conduct?
Yelling at someone for committing fraud. Oh, thanks, Midge, for bringing that picture up.
That's the neat thing about Transformers. Since they're not real, you can make them do anything.
Yeah. Well, but I came up with it actually studying, from the original cartoon, the actual sequence it shows in the cartoon, and I could copy the actual sequence from the cartoon.
And did you know the Transformers, at least in the Marvel comics, were non-gender?
In the Marvel comics, they were non-gender.
Yeah.
In the UK comics, RC, which was the first female Transformer, according to the UK comics, it was because they didn't understand gender. So they specifically built one to be female to try and understand what gender was about.
And in the IDW comics, RC was transgender.
Yeah, I had a fanfic that actually I wound up accidentally making Broadside transgender because I made him part of a Gestalt team, but it turned out all the other members of the team were female. So that apparently when he was changed from his Gestalt form to being a triple changer, they accidentally changed his gender.
Oh, like the Wild Wild Pussycats from My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I find it completely fascinating how much of a common I don't know what to call it, obsession or behavior or secret desire of how many men have a thing that they want to change gender.
Yeah, well, I think it shows how many people, at least at some point, wind up questioning it, and I think that's something that society needs to be better about, is that it's okay to question these things. Explore it. Maybe try it out. Maybe try dressing as the opposite gender for a little while and see,
Yeah, but
just how you will like how people respond to it.
But that's not trans, okay?
No.
That's not what trans is.
No, but I'm saying that I think people should explore their gender identity as much as they want to, because I think it would help some people with the confusion about it.
Yeah, and then they call themselves trans and make all sorts of trouble for actual trans people. Because they.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, is I think that the cultural norm needs to be, kind of whacked with a hammer several times so that, people accept it as being a normal thing to explore this.
It's become a thing, a very minor thing. Let me start with that. In the places where the bathroom bill has been taken to a lunatic ending, where they've actually said you can only use the bathroom of your birth certificate.
Yeah.
Now you have trans men, many of who are built up, like Mr. Universe, with big beards, and they're just really tough, scary looking guys. They have to use the women's restroom. Now, I don't know how that is going with them and that sort of thing, but one thing I hear from women is that there are just guys who call themselves trans men,
yeah,
and walk into the women's bathroom, and they're not.
Yeah, which is exactly what the trans bills were supposed to prevent.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they just made it easier because now a guy with a full beard can walk into the woman's restroom.
Like all those trans men?
These are all trans men, yes.
Yep. Yeah, and I've seen a number of pictures floating around on the internet of, some of these guys, and some of them are like, big husky gym bros now saying, according to state law, I have to use the woman's restroom.
Which is true, and it's the same thing's going to happen in the men's room. There's going to be a bunch of women-looking things coming in and going up to the urinals and looking down and see what you got.
Yeah, unfortunately, that puts them at extreme risk.
So this article I pulled this from anyway was meet the transgender men teaching all men to be better. Okay.
Cool. I can't
spent-
read the text behind them.
Yeah, this is Rocco Cayesto. I can't pronounce that name. Spent years after his transition in hating men. Then he realized he could help heal them. Okay.
Yep.
When Leroy Mitchell played youth football for Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, he could bench press 450 pounds. You know those issues with that whole in and balance thing where
Yeah, that the
athletics.
biological men have an
yeah.
advantage in women's sports.
Obviously here. People admire his athleticism him on the field, but he's an Afro-Latino man, and police often treated him like a threat with romantic partners. He felt like he had to perform a kind of sexual prowess, yada yada. Okay. So,
I believe the black man in this.
was-
Purpose says Los Angeles LGBT Center. I believe the black man in this picture is a actor on is one of the fire department shows.
Oh. Yeah, there's a couple of trans mask guys I know personally that, yeah, I'm sure if they ever went into a women's bathroom, they would freak the women out because, nobody would ever guess if they didn't tell them.
Well, I love it that everybody comes on and bitches about the concept of trans women using the women's room, and they don't give this a moment of thought that if you do this, this is what's going to happen. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, they're okay. They have female genitals." No, a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on topic of trans people who are getting in good spotlight, how about this one?
I'm sorry, I don't recognize these people.
This is Morgan Davies. He's in the One Piece live action series. He's on Netflix, and he was also played one of the characters in the Evil Dead Rise movie.
Oh, okay.
So
and that's the same picture, the same person, different pictures.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the one on the left is him in costume for the One Piece character.
Okay, and he's a trans man.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's been a woman on media lately who is an actress, and she was on some show, and I heard the name, I just can't remember it. But she got her passport renewed, and it came back. They changed her gender marker to male, and she's clearly not.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about this about Morgan Davies is he seems to be making some good headway with some of the more anti-trans groups I've seen making it more accepted.
Yep.
They're seeing his performance in the show and realize, oh, this is a trans man. Like, oh, well, I don't care. Okay, he's pretty good here. So basically, the response I've been seeing.
Cool. Yeah, too. And from the glasses, I also thought this, might be something because they're trying to do a live reboot of the Harry Potter series, and I saw some people saying that the actors who are playing the leading roles in this, are just like being compliant with with the hate and all. And I'm just thinking it's like, okay, is there any way that this can actually work? Because people notoriously hate reboots to start with. And you're doing a reboot based on a figure who has been constantly being an asshole in public, and whose whose revenue source has been cut by 3/4.
You're talking about
It's like,
J.K. Rowling?
yeah,
From what
how can they expect this series to succeed? Why is anyone willing to put forth the money to even produce this thing now?
I'm seeing on it, they're screwing things up where they're not going to get anyone really on board on liking this. From what I can tell, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you already lost the left, and you're going to lose the right because you're gender swapping, race swapping characters.
Okay, I didn't even know about them gender swapping any characters.
Actually, no, I'm not sure if they've gender swapping. I do know they race swap characters.
Now, does that mean the character in the play, let's say, is been switched, or the person who's playing the character has switched?
Well,
like
for
this
instance,
guy.
for Snape, if they're getting a black man to play Snape.
Okay, yeah. Tubian says John Lithgow is playing Dumbledore.
Yeah, he's been cast for Dumbledore.
I think it would be monumental. There's 4 lead characters in that. The four kids, 2 boys and 2 girls, right?
They did change Hermione to a black girl in the play. So
okay, I don't care about race. I would love to see them hire actual trans people to fill each one of those roles, just as a stick it in J.K. Rowling's face.
Well,
Because
anyway,
once she signs over, rights to produce that, she has no control over how they deal with the characters unless it's been written into the contract.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, for another thing, here's a comparison of him and his
to
character
the anime version.
To the anime version, yeah.
Yep.
So you can
see he doesn't get a little sailor uniform.
He's got a sailor uniform.
That just looks like a polo shirt or something, doesn't it?
Well, whoever did the character design, I think really nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's great.
The creator has had his thumb on this whole project from start to finish, including the second season.
Oh yeah, UR Victoria breaks up another point. The right wingers are pissed off about Harry Potter because of the magic, so they've already lost them.
Yeah, that's true.
How can this project not crash and burn? How can this project possibly make money?
Because there's 350 million people in this country, and most of them are politically or socially active.
Well, even if that's the case, it's the people who want them to see, like I said, there's race swapping in Snape. People are going to be like, wait, no, that's not Snape on screen.
Yeah.
So even if they're not political, they're going to be looking at that.
Yeah, and just like I said, just reboots to begin with. Everybody hates them doing reboots of classic shows.
Something I've noticed through my life, it makes me crazy. There's so many remakes that are so bad. But you guys familiar with the movie A Star Is Born?
No.
I know I saw it at some point, but I don't remember it.
There have been I think now it's up to 6 remakes of this movie that was made in the 50s, I believe. So it's like almost every decade they do a remake of this thing. And it's not that good of a movie to begin with, but for some reason they like to do that with that thing.
Let's see here.
Okay, I have to step away for a second.
3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different remakes of this thing. Right. Let's see, Star is Born 1937, Star is Born 1954, Star is Born 1973, A Star is Born 1976, Star is Born 2018. Jeez.
Oh, that was a big gap. The 90s missed it. They just didn't do their job in the 90s.
Dropped the ball in the 80s. I don't see an 80s thing here either.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Wait, there's an expansion I didn't see here. No, that's not 2021.
Well, that was the Reagan years,
Star is fucking born. Okay, 2023. Let's see here, 2008. A new Star is Born. Can't they get a more original name? Oh wait, here's 1980. A Star is Born. 1987. Star is Born. 1983. Yeah, I'll say 1990s here.
Anytime somebody wants to talk about the movie, I always ask which one.
Yeah, really.
What? Which one?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can see
God.
why you ask. Jeez.
I think Judy Garland was in it, or did a version of it. I can't remember who the male lead was. I keep thinking James Mason, but I'm thinking of him from Lolita,
Mm.
which is a show that should never be on. it's pretty much a show about
Yeah, I know
pedos.
that's about Humpert
And they're still accusing those trans people are pedos. James Mason was the male lead in the Judy Garland version.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
am certain I saw the Judy Garland version because Slothgirl was a big Judy Garland fan.
My name is James, my son.
Don't go.
He was a good actor. I liked him. Lolita was 12. Oh, I didn't know that. That is pretty nasty.
Yeah, I don't
Lolita
know.
was 12. I thought it was 14.
Yeah, I thought it was 14 too.
I thought I heard off in the distance, literally off in the distance, some radio or something was on, and somebody talking about some legal case of some sort that's going on right now of a guy who got some 5-year-old pregnant and wants to marry her now.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's
Okay.
because that's what the Bible says.
Okay, it looks like at least in the book it was Lolita was 12 in the book at least. You may have aged her up a little bit for the movies.
What a vile behavior that is. And for these horrible men to try to create the atmosphere where that it's something completely natural and okay, and it's good for kids to do this, and it's like the fuckers are so goddamn sick.
Yeah.
And they keep people keep trying to hook them up with the LGBTQ community, that they're part of that. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They've tried to be, and they've been soundly refused.
Since the 80s, the people who participate in that have been trying to add a P to the LGBTQ. And no one in the community has ever been willing to have any part of that.
Yeah, I've certainly never seen that, but I've certainly seen. Let's see, what is it again? Is it NAMI or NAMBI?
Nambla?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, something about the Boy and Man Association or something.
Yeah.
Boy, man, love or something.
Yeah.
Sick.
No, because anything to do with sex requires informed consent. And children cannot have a full concept of the consequences. So it is impossible for them to give informed consent.
See, that's one of the great ironies of this whole mood of sexuality in America today is these people will say, oh, no, that's good, that they should be able to marry that 5-year-old. But then they say, oh, no, a kid that young can't make consent for any medical things that they go through.
Yeah, well,
that's not too hypocritical.
Well, and again, it pisses me off that the states that were the first to try and cut off gender-affirming care for minors, which generally that we were talking about, puberty blockers for high school kids. But at the same time, in most of these states, it was legal for somebody to marry these kids.
Yeah, it's revolting.
So at 16 they can get married. But they can't make decisions about their own health care.
There is I believe it's 16 years old limit in a lot of states that you can go down to 16, and I heard that there's some that are 14.
Yep.
I don't follow that too much.
Well, and a number of bills that have been presented have been killed by someone saying that, maybe we should put an age limit on getting married. The Republicans kill bills for that.
Good evening, Robert. Thank you for coming back. It's good to see you again, kiddo.
Yeah. Good night, Robert. Rest well, friend.
It's close to midnight. God, how far east is he?
In the actually, Robert's in Germany.
Oh, okay. And hooray for Germany. They did a good thing. They soundly defeated the ADF, which is Germany's white supremacist group. Even though Elon Musk came over and campaigned for them. Did you hear that? Did you know they did that? Campaign for Nazis in Europe? That man's got to have his citizenship stripped and kicked the hell out of this country.
4 states have no official minimum age, but still require either parent consent and court approval or both. It's California, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Oklahoma.
I don't understand why it's so hard for people saying, no, that's too young. 16, okay, I don't like it, but you might be able to provide some rationale, but none? No.
Two states have the minimum age of 15, Hawaii and Kansas. 21 states have a minimum age of 16. 10 states have a minimum age of 17. And 13 states have a minimum age of 18, which is the same as their general age.
Yeah.
List.
The furthest I can press it as being at all rational is, okay, maybe if a 16-year-old is marrying an 18 or 19-year-old. But, if there's any larger in age spread between them than that, then you've got a serious problem with the power dynamic.
God, how creepy. Just how creepy that is.
And the age difference doesn't matter nearly as much, as you get older. Someone who's 30 marrying someone who's 40 is really no big deal, because by that point they're both past, major milestones in their life that
or 50,
they've
60,
learned to be
70.
an independent adult. Yeah.
Though if there's only like a 2-3 year difference between the 16-year-old and whoever they want to get married to, what's the issue with just waiting those few years?
I think
well, yes,
it makes me
but
it makes me very angry when a state decides to prosecute a 17 and 6-month-old boy because he had a tete-a-tete with his 17 plus 2 months girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, you have to allow that this is a normal thing for high school kids to do.
Nowadays it is.
If it's like a 16 and an 18-year-old, I don't see that as being a problem.
Well, it still comes down to that there's a Christian right who expects the world to live by their Bible, even though they don't, and nobody else believes in it.
Hey, Porpoise. Another day of disappointing obituaries. You mean because you didn't see mine?
What happens, Senator?
Well, by disappointing obituaries, I think that he just means that some people that the world would be better off without aren't listed.
Oh, okay.
We won't name names.
No, that can get you into trouble.
Yeah.
Although I do like Luigi, and that's a good name.
Yeah.
And Jester, I didn't realize you were 16.
Well, and why is it that these major CEOs now are spending a fortune on bodyguards rather than just behaving ethically so they won't be targets? Why does that not occur to them?
Because they're in a corporate structure that they grew up in, and they're not the ones in charge. Their board of directors is.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of capitalism. There's always got to be a loser for capitalism to work.
Yeah, I cannot voice the thoughts that have been going through my head here because they might be considered terroristic threats.
Especially these days.
Mm-hmm.
These guys will take any minuscule gram of anything and try to turn it into a reason to hate and destroy you.
Sorry. Sammy came back up on the chair.
I was just going to say I agree.
Yep, that is, I let out a lot of my tics now by talking to my cats, and it keeps me more level that way.
I think you should tell people it's Romanian, that you speak Romanian.
Sounds like a good outlet.
Well, like I said, I wish I could get recordings of it, because then I could use it for an alien language for my book.
We just did get a recording of it.
Yeah, actually, that's what I need to start doing. Is I need to start noting the timestamps. Okay,
Well, just write it down when it
156.
happens.
Yep. Yeah.
So what's this thing about calling this dickhead Dick Musk a threat?
Say again. I didn't catch it.
What is this? U.S. Department of Justice to Robert Garcia thing.
Oh yeah, Robert Garcia, the reporter.
Called Dick Elon Musk a dick. It was regarded as a threat to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They sent a letter to him. They're literally going to be investigating him for his horrible transgression. And it's just absolutely insane. It's exactly what you expect out of a fascist government.
Well, I am also waiting for the court decision on the court blocking a Doge thing, and Trump trying to say that Elon Musk was only an advisor, and then later saying that he appointed Elon Musk to head it. So I'm just waiting to see what kind of response his lawyers can come up with.
Do you know Elon Musk is being paid $8 million a day?
14 million now. They doubled it.
Oh no shit! God Almighty!
Which I'm sure is far more than the amount of money he's saving anyone.
Well, that's the reports that are coming out of it, is that these guys are digging and digging and digging, and they are not finding waste and corruption.
No, because the people who have run the Social Security Administration for decades have said that the amount of actual fraud they have found in the system is less than 2%.
And most of it is due to just overpayments.
Yeah. Most of it's due to errors that checks continued to be sent after the person had died because they didn't get the death notice.
Well, not even that. It was just it was just a little oversight of being overpaid sometimes, and then they had to get it back.
Jester, I'm no good at math. I can't deal with that. But thanks for the info.
And as the whole 200-year-old people still getting checks, that's bullshit. That they cut it.
Oh.
The automatic cutoff is 115.
I heard 109.
Oh, that's what the AP reported. It was 115, but okay.
Well, either way, it's just insane for them. I mean, has anybody ever lived past 120? I don't think so.
They have never been able to document it. There have been claims, but they have never been able to document the person's actual date of birth when those claims were made.
Oh,
The oldest
Sinister, you're right. I know what COBOL is.
The oldest person to have ever lived reached age of 122 years and 164 days.
Hey, Sinister.
Say that again.
Okay, what?
The oldest person to have lived is recorded as 122 years and 164 days.
Wow.
Yeah, but I have heard that one disputed.
She apparently died in France in a nursing home.
My grandma went to 107.
Sinister, you're aging me. I'm only 60 and I learned Cobalt when I was in school.
I once had to I was working in the psychology department at UWM, and they put me to work for a couple of weeks writing numbers and helping to punch those stupid card things that they have to use.
Yeah. Okay, here is something that, yes, Felon is removing agencies who are investigating his companies. And
Yep.
Yeah, okay. If this doesn't qualify as a conflict of interest in our government, what does? Just how can that be allowed? How can there not be, any uproar from Congress or anything about a conflict of interest?
Yes, Sinister, punch cards. I wasn't punching the cards. I was the intermediate between taking the data, the raw data from the field, and putting it down into charts and stuff that person used for punching the information in.
Yeah, I started out on punch cards, and one of the days I will always remember, is that we all had our decks of punch cards, and we were all in line for our turn to feed them into the computer. And the guy in line behind me set his deck of cards on top of the printer and bent down to tie his shoe. But these were the old Univac printers that when they ran out of paper, the lid automatically opened. So while he was tying his shoe, the printer came up. He spent all night resequencing 300 and some punch cards to get his program to work the next day.
Oh, man. I had an uncle who was in the Navy, but he was something to do with the computers in the Navy. And they were on vacation from Washington, D.C., where they lived, to our house. And I think I was 12, maybe 13. And he brought his work from work, and it was all punch card stuff. He had this big stack of punch cards, and I don't know what he was doing. He certainly didn't have any machine to punch holes, but that was Uncle Smokey. So I was just like way over my head. I was just a kid. I didn't know shit.
It was actually one of the small notes in Steal This Book, just to be a dick to the government or to, like collection agencies or whatever. He said that whenever they send you a punch card in the mail, take an X-Acto knife and cut a couple extra holes in it.
That's a fine idea.
Okay. Just a funny thing.
Randall, there's no reason you can't go back.
This is Petunia trying to hide because she's kind of feeling out of it.
I thought it was a worm coming out of a cocoon.
No, that's just Petunia trying to hide behind the curtain.
Cute. So,
Jester, they were the instruction set for the computer, the instruction and or data, as far as I understand. Sinister is the one to answer that, though.
Another thing here to clear up another pretty much a total lie by Elon Musk is this comic book right here that we see in front of us. Claim USAID funded transgender comic book in Peru. And that's what we're supposedly looking at right here. It's not. It wasn't USAID. It was Department of State the diplomatic and consular programs, not USAID that did the funding. It was for only $32,000. It was between in 2022 and 2023. It was part of an exchange program with Peru and U.S., so we got something back. Like we funded something for them, they funded something for us. It's like kind of an educational program. And the comic book does not have a trans character in it. It does have a gay character in it, but it's not even the main character, as far as I can tell.
Okay, yeah, I had heard about that one.
So yeah, basically complete bullshit.
Yeah, punch cards were actually, or computer punch cards were invented for the U.S. 1880 census.
What?
Yes, well, for computers. He actually took the idea of cards that were created for the Jacquard loom in 1801.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and, just basically made a machine that allowed a computer to read them.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Because the U.S. takes the census every 10 years. And the 1870 census took them 12 years to tabulate. But with the punch card system, the 1880 census was tabulated in only 3 years.
Randall, hugs and kisses. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, another strange thing that you should bring up if a theist is, arguing with you about our perfect creation and all, ask him why the Pope now has kidney disease and will be going on dialysis.
Because Jesus hates him.
But he was hand-chosen by God.
Well, God wants a buddy, I guess. You got to play some poker up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I got discovered in National Park a previously unknown species. Did they say? I'll be right back. I got to find out about that.
Unknown species. That sounds interesting.
It's just a little blurb that'll have barely any information at all from the Weather Channel.
I'm not sure if it's the same one I'm thinking of, but I'll let you. Yeah, because actually just the other day I heard about them discovering a new species as well. And we're not talking about insects here. We're talking about a sizable animal for a change. But I'll let Jenny do hers first because I don't want to spoil it if it's the same thing. Yeah, I remember, when you did actually sometimes get punch cards in the mail, for your utility bills. So I know there were things like with utility bills and credit cards that they would send you the punch card in the mail. I don't remember if you were supposed to sign it or something, but you had to send it back to them. That was the early 70s.
Yeah. And while we're waiting for that, there's a movie I sort of watched while I was in the hospital. If. There's Ryan Reynolds in it. Basically, the plot is this girl is going through some hard times, and because of that, she starts seeing everybody's imaginary friend.
Oh.
And then she starts trying to reunite the imaginary friends with their people. It's kind of a touching story.
Okay, yeah, but it kind of sounds like
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yeah, at least inspired by that.
Yeah, it did seem like, well, in fact, I was just thinking, did they make a live action version of Foster's Home? So it kind of
Yep.
looks like it.
That was kind of a fun show.
Oh, is this a new movie coming out?
This came out. It's called If. Is the one I watched when I was in the hospital with
Oh, this
Ryan
is
Reynolds.
great. I've had a crush on Ryan Reynolds and John Krasinski for years. I have got to see this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this one on the list for us to watch.
There was also there was a movie called Drop Dead Fred, which was about this adult woman who her imaginary friend suddenly came back.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and well, the only part of that I really remember as being really funny was when she was sitting in the psychiatrist's office. So her imaginary friend was playing with everyone else's imaginary friends, but she could only see hers. She couldn't see any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Molly. Okay, I got a picture. I got
Hey, Molly.
a screen dump off of that new plant that was discovered.
New plant.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a plant. Okay.
Yeah, it's a new species of plant. They said it actually is a whole new genus of the daisy family.
Cool.
It's really spooky looking. Well, not spooky. It's very interesting looking. A visitor to the park and a park ranger discovered it by chance in 2024, and they finally got it out, done all the classifications and stuff.
Okay. Do we have a picture?
I thought I put one in there.
Okay. Well,
Let me. Okay.
Scroll down.
yeah, I was actually more asking Mage if he had got the picture, because sorry, I've got other things going on here. My phone keeps going off, and I have to keep people informed of things.
Let me get
Actually, both of my phones keep going off, and that's dealing with family issues.
I'm gonna get a different picture than what you posted.
Why?
I think I can get a better picture.
If anybody's wondering about my avatar, since it has writing you can't necessarily read, it says, "I'm not sorry for being a girl. In fact, I'm doing it on purpose."
That is wicked looking.
Isn't it? I love it. It's at Big Bend National Park.
Yeah. See, got something
That's Texas. That's Texas,
Smith.
isn't it?
Okay.
Yep.
It's some kind of a fuzzy succulent.
No, they said it's in the daisy family.
Mm.
I don't know how they come upon that, but that's what they said.
Probably genetic testing.
On the blurb. And let's see, one has 2 petals and the other has 3.
See, last spring at Manly, he was exploring a remote area of Big Bend National Park when he spotted something unusual on the ground. A tiny, fuzzy, flowering plant was sprouting from between the desert rocks in Texas Park, next northern region. She had never seen anything like them before. Manly, who volunteers with the Park Botany program, snapped a few photos and uploaded them into the Citizen Science platform. iNaturalist to see if anyone else would identify the mysterious plant. She altered park staffer. She alerted park staffers who were also unfamiliar with the hairy white foliage and maroon florets. So Manly and a team of researchers embarked on a quest to identify and discover, after consulting species database, is herbarium records and plant and taxonomy. The publications, they realized they had stumbled upon a new species that was previously unknown to scientists. Researchers described the new species, which they named Oviscula bradanta, Oviscula bradanta, in a new paper published this last week in the journal Phytokeys. Is not only a new species, it's so distinct from other plants that researchers have classified it as a brand new genus within the daisy Asteria family. The fur marks the first time in the new plant genus this has been identified in an American national park in nearly 5 decades. According to
Wow.
the California Academy of Science, which support the discovery, the last new plant genus is to be discovered in a national park, represented by the giant gold shrub. Like this guy. It was found in Death Valley. It was in 1976.
Well, I hope they keep its location secret, so no, because if they don't, some guy's gonna come and say, "Oh, I'm gonna dig it up, take it home."
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Some collector is going to want to
Yeah.
have it.
Wonder how many there are out there. If there's one, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Oh, there's definitely more. Right there, another shot of it.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, okay. So a whole bunch of them, and they're growing up between these broken rocks. Okay, and just to clarify, even though it's in the daisy family, it could still be a succulent, because succulents are not actually a family of plants. It's just a characteristic of leaves swelling and shrinking depending on how much moisture they have.
Oh,
All the
okay.
succulent plants are not necessarily related to each other.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's not really a biological classification.
Which means you could date two different guys. One could be really succulent and the other's not. Don't answer that.
Ah.
Well, that's neat. Thanks for the search there, Wolf.
Okay. Well, I have another one I ran across the other day. They have discovered a new species of pangolin.
Oh, really?
Yes.
These are the
they
coolest.
thought there were only 2 species of pangolins, and they have discovered that there is a third species that is native to like parts of northern Africa and like Southeast Asia, like around Burma.
I think these are just one of the coolest damn looking animals.
Yeah.
On Earth.
Pangolins are the only mammal that is completely covered in scales. And unfortunately, they are the most trafficked animal. Largely because a lot of people still believe their scales can be used in Asian medicine, and they're
Yes.
considered a delicacy.
Yeah, rhino horn. Now pangolin and shark fin.
Yeah.
They kill sharks to just take the fin and make it into soup.
Yeah, they cut the fin off and they throw the shark back in the water. And like that is just such a horrible torture, because obviously the shark can't swim right without that, and you're throwing them back in the water bleeding. It's just going to attract all their predators.
Yeah, they're not going to survive at that. No way.
Yeah.
I saw a real sad picture the other day. It was one of those pink dolphins, and it was beached and dead.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap it up here for today.
What?
Well, I almost forgot that I have a group meeting that I have to be to in about an hour.
Okay.
So I still have to, do my makeup and pick out an outfit and all that kind of stuff. And
just go naked.
it is warm enough for that now. We're in the mid 40s.
Oh, we hit 50 the other day.
We haven't quite hit 50 this week, but we've been in the mid 40s all week. I think our highest was 47.
Yeah, this is supposed to continue till the end of the week, and then going to 1 or 2 days in the 30s, and then back up into the 40s. Spring's here.
Yep. Yeah, for Minnesota, still being in February, yeah, this is unusual at least.
Maybe it's the new norm.
It's
Yeah,
all
well,
changes.
normally Minnesota, January and February is when we get our most snow.
Hmm.
So anyway, does anybody have anything they want to plug before we go here?
Jenny?
Well, I got this faucet that kind of drips. I should plug that sometime. But other than that, no.
Commander 401, are you still with us? Excuse me. Do you want to put out a link to some place that people can send you money? Oh, actually, hold on. Hold on, I've got to find something.
Dating puts the suck in succulent.
Well, I try to. But I haven't had a date in over 10 years now, so.
Oh, amateur.
Well, but I'm afraid I'm out of practice now. I need some guys to let me practice.
Well, you're in better shape than I have, because I get to say I've never been on one, and so I know absolutely nothing about it. It's tough being a 7-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
You want to say something to try to do my plug?
Yeah, go ahead, Mage. I'm trying to.
All right. Well, this Saturday I will be on Godless Granny's show talking about my show and my new channel, which is Mage's Media and Musings. I will have. Hopefully, I'll be able to get my show done this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Basically, I'll just carry over more or less what I had planned for last week that I had to miss because of being in the hospital. But there's that. Of course, I still have my Gardens Happen channel. You can go check that out. I gotta get another garden tour up on that pretty soon. So that's what I got going. As for the other thing with the Woo channel with the cryptids and horror movies and stuff, I'm not really sure what's going on with that right now. The guy who's kind of running into some financial issues with StreamYards and is kind of reworked the whole thing apparently. But I said I'd work on putting together a little something on Travis Walton for that.
Related to Bill Walton?
Yeah, Travis Walton. He was one of the most famous UFO abductees.
Oh, okay. Like that Bob Lazar or whatever.
Yeah,
his
kind
name
of like
is.
that.
Uh-huh. So another charlatan.
May just be, from what I've read so far.
I hope that they find out the truth about UFOs before I die.
The truth probably is that none of them have ever visited our planet.
Well, I tend to agree with that. I think it's also equally likely that they have. There's no reason why they can't pick our planet versus any other that's out there.
Well, they did 66.2 million years ago and took my ancestors to another planet. That's why I'm here. But I was trying to find a link and I can't. But Lone Wanderer, who is person who tends to be quiet a lot but should be known to most of our community, is also having some difficulty and could use some financial help. I was trying to find a link for her, but I can't find a link for anybody to send her anything. But yeah, a family issue that her brother and his kids were in a car accident, and only one of the children survived.
Oh man.
So yeah, they're their family has been undergoing a lot of hardship and, of course, some unexpected expenses. Here, I'll just clip this. Ah, shoot. Damn it. Yeah. Damn it, damn it, damn character limits.
Good night, Ivy. Don't get caught.
Okay, yeah, it was her brother-in-law and his 2 kids in the car.
Oh.
Boy, that's a setup to have guilt the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh. So all I can do is give you a link to her channel. But she's also on Twitter and Discord. So, any comforting words would be appreciated. Okay,
yeah, we got to get a hold of her and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that she had posted this in the general of my Discord channel a couple of weeks ago, and I had invited her to come on to talk about it, but I didn't know if that was going to work for her schedule or not. So yeah. She's really had a very rough last couple of years.
I'd imagine.
Well, just in many ways, and I'm not going to say any more because I don't know, how much has really been made public and how much is from private chats I've had with her. So
Yeah.
okay. So with that, I hope everyone else is reasonably well. I hope everybody else can, stand firm and that we can get through the next couple of years together.
Until they ban YouTube.
Yeah, well, we've got to work on that too and have other ways to stay in touch. And
Hey, Sumami.
For anyone who is willing to share personal information with me, if you will private me, I will keep a file of, people and phone numbers so that, if for any reason somebody disappears for an extended time, we've got another way to try and contact you. Of course, I won't give out any personal information to anyone else. I'll just, send you a text or give you a call myself just to check on you if people are, wondering what happened to you. So with that, we will wish you all a good day, and we will see you all here the same time next week.
Be trans, buy a nice dress.
Okay. Bye-bye, all.